This is the Norris Group's Real Estate Investor Radio Show, the award-winning show dedicated to thought leaders shaping the real estate industry and local experts revealing their insider tips to succeed in an ever-changing real estate market. Hosted by author, investor, and hard money lender, Bruce Norris.
Hi, thanks for joining us. My name is Bruce Norris, and today our special guest is Alex Serrato. Alex is a local builder in Riverside who I have partnered with on many deals. And Alex, one of the reasons why I wanted you to come in today, because we've had a very good experience with each other.
Yes.
And I think it's a niche that might be an advantage to other investors because it's hard for them to find deals right now, but maybe from scratch there would be another niche they could employ. So thanks for sharing with us today. I appreciate that a lot.
Well, thank you.
How long have you been a builder?
On and off for about 12 years.
Okay, so that takes us back to about the middle or the end of the boom, actually, 2004-05?
Yes,
okay.
2004.
Okay. Prior to that, what did you do?
I was flipping homes.
Okay, so you did rehabs of existing homes.
We were buying auction properties and fixing them and selling them.
Auction as in trustee sales or auctions as in like HUD auctions and stuff like that?
We've done HUD auctions and we've also done trustee sales.
Okay, I've done both.
Yeah, I've done both, yes.
Okay. Have you ever expanded existing structures because you have this contractor background?
Yes, we've done room additions where we will take a small 800 or 600 square foot home and we'll add less than 500 square feet, being a master with the bathroom or something like that.
Now, why did you make the transition, say, around 2004 and 5 to building? Is it because it was harder to find existing stuff?
Right. The market kind of dictates what is best.
Okay, so we were in quadrant 4, and it starts to. You don't go to auctions anymore. You don't have a lot of trustee sales, so you got to start either talking to owners directly, or do what you did and start from scratch and get a piece of dirt.
That's right. Yes, the auction properties go from 100 to maybe 10 properties, and then there's 100 buyers. For
That's
the
right.
10
They
properties.
go from 10 to 100 at the same.
Right.
You have more interest with a lot less properties,
Right.
and all of a sudden the margin disappears.
So you start looking around and making a decision whether you like to build or whether you want to go in that direction. And I have a passion for building, so I started that, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Now, that was about 2004?
2004.
Okay, so,
yes.
I mean, everything's completely gangbusters at that point.
Yes.
And so the hard part would have been to get dirt, I would think.
Actually, I had an in with a family that owned a lot of land in Riverside.
Okay.
And they sold one parcel to me, and then from there they just reaching out and say, hey, we have another one. Are you interested in this other one? And so they fed me about 6 parcels of land during a time of maybe 2 or 3 years.
Now, when you say parcels, were these things that you had to divide, or they were individual lots?
They were infill lots.
Infill
Lots in the downtown Riverside area, and some of them even had a home that had been removed or whatever. So that's a whole different niche as well.
That's right.
Yes.
That's like, then, since you've landed on there, what does that say? It saves something in money, for sure.
It does save if you have existing sewer lateral that you can just reconnect. If you have a water meter, you can use that water meter as well. The city or whichever entity will give you a credit for square footage as well. So there's a lot of savings.
So it is an interesting niche. So if you have a house burned down in a neighborhood, it's a lot cheaper to build on that existing lot because of all those savings, school taxes and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
You really save a lot of money that way. Unfortunately, though, when you got involved, it was crazy and good. Everything you did was successful, and you didn't have any experience of a down market, let's say, as a builder.
That's correct.
So you didn't hit a 1990 to 95 with all the wrong stuff.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't have that experience.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you got to 2007 and 8, the music stopped.
2008, yes, we were trying to sell a new house in the downtown Riverside, and we were having a hard time getting people to qualify. We were finding buyers, but we couldn't
Right,
get
but
the
the
loan
lending
to
world
go.
changed.
The lenders kept getting nervous and pulling out at the last minute, and every time we get a new lender, the market had adjusted and we're going down and down on price.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
In Riverside, it was like 3% a month.
There,
Yeah.
it was.
The key, of course, is to not get stuck with that stuff. But that's the scary part about being a builder, is that there's a lot of lead time usually that's required.
Absolutely.
So you've got to have a pretty good view of what's next. And in land, it's really hard, especially if it's a tract.
Absolutely.
Have you ever done something that required like that type of thing, map work and all that?
Yes, I have, and that takes a long time.
Yeah.
And it gets very expensive.
That's
Yes.
the thing too. A lot of that you don't know how to calculate it, because you don't know how many engineers are going to get required by somebody that says, "Oh, we need this and we need this."
Right. And then once you satisfy one condition, can lead to another condition that you were unaware of.
Right.
And all of that stuff gets expensive.
Yeah. So if you approach something like that again, would you prefer to get stuck with a house that didn't sell, or a piece of dirt you can't use?
Oh, let me see. Most likely a house. You could. I mean, there's options once you have the house. You can rent it. You can discount it. You could get creative.
Yeah. Piece of dirt.
Right.
You just pay for weed removal and write checks.
I was just
for
about
taxes.
to say that. Yeah.
And occasionally even that gets exciting. We had, before we used your guy, we actually had weeds removed. And I didn't know you needed to pull a permit to do it, but he actually did, which was good. And he caught fire to the whole, that's whatever, how many acres we have out there. The whole thing burnt.
Oh, wow.
And the fire department had to be called. And because we had pulled a permit and he had a contractor's license, we didn't get fined or have to pay the bill. But he called me up, which was unusual, because usually he just did it and sent me a bill. He said, "Well, it's all done. It got done really quickly this time."
He used a different method.
Yeah, used a different method. But,
I'm glad you guys didn't get in trouble on that, so that's good.
Yeah, isn't that interesting though, that you had to have a permit for that? I mean, it's just, they got you coming and going. Do you see a difference in the inventory of new homes, like say in 05 versus now?
Yes, I'm seeing that a lot. I'm seeing a lot of stick built. I'm also seeing trailers over in the Paris area, where people are bringing in a trailer and doing the permanent foundation.
Okay.
And working that angle.
Trailer. Mobile home?
Mobile home.
Okay.
Yeah. Mobile home.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's okay.
I was surprised.
That started again too.
Yes,
yeah.
Don't you mean tiny house?
Tiny is a small home.
Oh, the tiny
small
house.
homes.
Yeah, there's always a niche. Yeah, that's basically what it could be, but they're not all that small sometimes. I guess what I was getting at, do you see a difference in the volume of, was 05 much crazier than now? More competition than now?
It's hard to gauge, but I am seeing a lot of infill lots being developed, both at the county level and at the city level.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's starting to be a niche for other
absolutely.
people too.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I can see why. But that puts pressure on the dirt.
Yes.
Trying to find it.
Oh yes. Yeah. Prices are steadily going up on vacant land.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have a preferable square footage and price range?
It depends in the neighborhood, but
Okay.
yes, the downtown Riverside, I've scaled down from 1,900 down to 1,500.
So the homes
Smaller.
that we currently have under construction.
That's correct.
Okay.
Smaller homes, trying to keep them in the FHA
Right.
price range.
Okay. Which is
Right.
what in Riverside?
I believe it's 374,
it went up?
somewhere around
Okay,
there.
it went
Yes.
up some. It was like 3.5, I thought. But anyway, okay.
I may be wrong, but it's somewhere in that price range.
Okay.
And so at different neighborhoods where you're approaching like the $500,000 value, we're about 2,800 square feet.
Okay. Is it your preference to try to push the limit on price in an area?
No, quite the opposite. I try to be conservative. You have more potential buyers at the conservative price range than you do when you try to max it out.
Okay.
And it's quite a gamble.
Yeah, you don't want to try to create history. you want to have comps. How's appraising been? Because I don't think, like when we sell new homes, I don't know that we're often having comps for other new homes. I mean, occasionally it's our own home,
right?
Which just happened.
That just happened, correct? Yeah. Yes.
But normally you're being compared to used inventory.
Yes, but they will credit you for the new factors.
They will give you a bump
construction.
Up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, not much.
Right, but it's still still a little bit. How many models do you have that you repetitively build?
3.
Okay.
Three homes that I just, depending on the neighborhood, that's what I'm comfortable with, and we just build that one.
And have they changed over time as far as what you've decided to land on, and how did you make those adjustments?
They've changed very little.
Okay.
And I just made those adjustments based on available material for price. You could buy a 2 or 3 inch baseboard that looks just entry level, or I found a 6-inch baseboard that I pay just a few cents more, and it gives it a better look.
Yeah, it does.
So once you find those materials that are priced comparable to entry level, it doesn't make much sense not to use them.
Right.
So it's kind of like a no-brainer.
And you also get feedback from customers as they walk through, and you'll go, okay, well, I don't want to do that again, or okay, we'll always keep that.
Yes. I get a lot of feedback on doors, baseboard and crown molding.
And it really costs nothing.
It's just cents
for the whole house.
Right. Additional few cents a linear foot. So yes, cabinetry. I like to use the tile roof. It looks very nice. It gives it the superior look. Now,
how often do you use the same subs?
Very often, but lately, the industry is booming.
Right.
So now they're busy. So I'm having to reach out, and where before I used to count on a particular sub, now I need to have 2 or 3 that do that same job, so that when one sub is busy, you reach out and call another one and hopefully get the job done in a timely manner. But yes, I am having to wait.
Does it help that they've built the same house before?
It does.
Okay.
It certainly does, yes.
So they're just like, oh yeah, we've done this one.
Yeah, we're doing that house again. Okay, yeah. So yes, it does help.
What's the process that you put people through as far as saying, okay, well, you can bid my work?
Well, it's they have to take a look at the plans, and they have to do a takeoff list, and they have to itemize every cost, material, and labor. And then a lot of times I will buy the material, and they provide the labor. And
okay.
that is so once you start doing that, you have to also understand the material. What do you need? How much material do you need? Where to buy it? Where to get the best price? And then when to provide it to the sub, when to bring it to the job site. You don't want your material sitting there for too long.
Yeah. Since it's the same, I mean, you have a list of literally what
yes.
you use every house.
Yes,
okay.
I have a recipe book. I need so many pieces of 2x4s. I need so much tile. I need so much, yes.
Now, does that, in some ways, I guess that would be easier for the subcontractor. Is there a disappointment sometimes that they don't get to mark the material up because they're not connected to it?
Yes.
Okay.
But then they don't get the job.
After you get your permit, how long does it typically take you to build?
Well, it could take roughly about 3 months, 3 to 6 months, depending also on the project. And then during each process, you go through a building and safety inspection. And depending if you pass or if you have corrections, or all those can set you back. And there's been times when an inspector says, I don't understand these plans. We need clarification. So now you have to go back to the engineer of record, have him clarify whatever detail the inspector doesn't understand, go back to the city, get it approved, and you just burned a month of time.
Which is another point to bring up, is just because you've done the exact same house in the exact same city, when you get a different inspector, it's a whole new ballgame.
Absolutely. Yes,
Every time.
Yes. Just like that situation where I was just describing it, the inspector didn't understand the details. And so now we have to provide the information where he understands it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that can drive you nuts, And that was actually the next question. What can happen during the course of construction that can have a big impact on time? And it's those wild card things. I mean, we just had stuff in Norco. What was that? I mean,
what a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yes.
That had to do with something, the street
improvements, they were not approved until we were about 6 months into the building. As a matter of fact, we were done with the house.
Yeah.
We were just working on the street improvements, and there were, I believe, 3 or 4 times that it was resubmitted and then came back with corrections and resubmitted again and more corrections. But at the end of the day, I mean, we accomplished the job. We had to remove and replace a storm drain. We had to do curb and gutter. We had to install the sewer lateral, the gas, and the water, and all that stuff. But it was a challenge.
And I mean, it took a while to get to the point where we were done with the house. So all the street improvements were in process for that whole time.
They were, yes.
I mean, that's the thing that just drives you crazy, because
Right.
prior to that, we probably had several months before you even started construction that
Right.
we knew that was going to be in place. So that stuff those are the things that just kills you, because that was not a little bit of money.
No,
the street improvements.
It was a chunk of money. Yes,
And we already
I was
you already
totally
had
surprised.
budget.
Yes,
you had already budgeted a certain amount, and it exceeded it because of some nonsense.
I was like, that costs how much?
Yeah, that's the part that you just go, wow.
Yes, but when you have your permits in place and you're doing the right, taking the right precautions. It's even hard not to. It's hard not to do it right, because you go through so many inspections. You get the county out there to check on your temporary fencing and your temporary toilet, and make sure you're not creating dust and all that kind of stuff. So, you go through a lot of inspections, and it's kind of hard to mess it up.
Okay. Price volatility as far as your costs. So, I mean, when you start a project, let's say you're 6 to 8 months away. I mean, literally, when we say, okay, we're going to buy a piece of dirt, we probably have a house for sale 6 to 8 months from now.
Yes.
So price volatility is great when the price of the house goes up, but what about cement and wood and all that stuff that you're going to journey through?
That is very interesting, yes, because I'm seeing it as we go forward, is that yes, prices are increasing along with the value of real estate.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you contract that part in? You don't really.
You don't, but you do have a margin for those type of unexpected.
Okay.
It could be 3,000, it could be 13,000, where you have a margin for unexpected.
Okay.
Miscellaneous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doing the business teaches you to have a margin for
right.
those categories.
You're right. Don't put that rope too tight around your neck, or else you'll be in trouble.
As far as done with this segment, Aaron, did you have anything that you wanted to add? I wanted to. The reason I structured it this way, I kind of wanted to talk about some of your experience in the past and see what history you had. I know you did a lot of flips before you started building,
right?
And I wanted to figure out if you had built during the other booms or bust cycles, and you had not.
Had not.
So kind of wanted to cover that. So I think right now we're in quadrant 4, which is still a booming time. But what you always have to be careful of is once that ends and go to the other side,
right?
That's when you don't want to own dirt. You don't want to own spec houses that are at the top of the market and all that. So,
I did have a question. How do you monitor what cities are doing? Because depending on how it's structured, you've got county, you've got unincorporated county, you've got cities, and they all have different protocols for fees and stuff. And sometimes they raise them depending on if they need to raise money. So,
right. Interesting. Yes, that's a good question. School fees just recently increased by a few cents, which make a difference because they're by square footage. There's no prior notice.
Right.
You just show up, and yesterday you paid $350. Now you're paying $375.
And they don't grandfather you in if you've already submitted.
No. Water meters are crazy expensive.
And that can vary wildly depending on the city, right?
Absolutely.
Can you go to a city, I guess is the question, just get a list of, so you can sort of build in what you think it's going to cost for city fees?
Yes, you can go to land use at the county, and they will provide a general list. But then there's also other departments that are outside of the land use, school department, water department, other agencies that you have to know where they're at, and you have to know they exist, and go and ask them those questions.
And that can really vary quite a great deal depending on the city structure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we get to the land, we're going to, the next segment we're talking about land and the process of getting through all of that stuff before you even get to the permit part. To wrap up the construction side, what kind of warranties, when somebody buys a house from you, what type of warranties are they provided?
We generally buy a homeowner's warranty that covers, I believe it's a year, it might be 2 years. And then we also buy, and this is something recent, where we buy a foundation structural insurance that covers the actual slab and framing for 7 years.
Okay. Now there's a 10-year warranty of something.
Yes.
What does that have to do with it?
I'm not too sure, but I believe that it covers like windows and cracking of the walls and stuff like that.
When you build a tract, between year 9 and 10, lawyers know that all that, and they do mailers out to everybody. They're doing mailers to you. They're doing mailers to where I live.
Yeah,
the class action lawsuit for cracked stucco and all this nonsense. It drives me crazy.
Now, I've heard from a lawyer friend of mine I spoke with just a few weeks ago that now the builder is given the opportunity to fix the problem before it goes to court. So that's new.
That's great.
Yes. So that will stop a lot of the
frivolous lawsuits.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting because we just went through this with Rosamond.
Okay.
And we were never given that opportunity. There wasn't anything to fix.
Right.
It's a problem.
They just know that it's cheap money because most builders just settle?
You bought for insurance. We paid $700,000 for an insurance policy.
Right.
So, you're insured, but
and you had pictures of every house along the way.
Oh my gosh, we had that inspected by, not only the city, but we had hired an inspection company because of this insurance. That there's just like no way.
Right.
It's California. And
to keep that in mind, you also want to buy quality material. Windows are very delicate. I used to buy my windows from a certain store. Now I have upgraded to Milgard, which has a lifetime warranty. So I like that. I pay a little bit extra, but I know that I'm not going to have a problem in the future.
Okay.
Interesting. So if there is a problem, they can go to the manufacturer instead of trying to go after like a Home Depot or something?
Yes, absolutely.
Or you.
or yes.
The last question in this segment is about the sub. So you hire a sub, and let's say something goes wrong with the AC that's still under warranty, and they don't perform. What liability do you have?
If the sub doesn't perform, then the home warranty will kick in. Usually they're supposed to call the home warranty, period. But I've had situations where they call me, and I call the sub, and the sub goes and takes care of it. If he doesn't, and then we have to make a decision. Do I then hire somebody else to go take care of the problem? Which I normally do.
Right.
We take care of it. Yes.
So it's not so much a warranty from the builder. I'm just trying to get this clear because in some cases I'm wearing the hat as being, we're selling a couple properties. I want to know what I need to be able to provide for them. What I was thinking was like the warranty just came from Alex Serrato, builder, and whatever happened, you took care of. But you're saying you buy an insurance policy for that event.
We buy an insurance policy, yes.
I didn't know that was...
Yes.
Sort of like you could get when you provide a home on resale. Correct. Is that the same type of policy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think that's good for this segment.
For more information on hard money loans and upcoming events with the Norris Group, check out thenorrisgroup.com. For information on passive investing with trust deeds, visit tngtrustdeeds.com.